Hey, what's up? This is Patrick from punktorah, and this is frequently asked questions about me going to rabbinical school. So, if you didn't see the cool Terminator 2 style action video that I made using iMovie on Lion, which is like the coolest, easiest, cheaterific video editing software ever, if you didn't see that video, then you're probably like, what's he talking about? Well, I'm going to go to rabbinical school. And so, yeah, that's going to be Rabbi Jerk to you, pal. I want to get a t-shirt that says that. So I've been asked a lot of questions as soon as that video came out. Everyone wanted to know, well, what school are you going to? Well, are you still going to do punktorah? Well, how long are you going to be in school? Blah, blah, blah. So I have this list here, and I figured I would just answer everybody's questions in a YouTube video, and then you can send me more questions if you want, but I'm probably just going to answer them in YouTube videos. So, anyway, so what school am I attending? I am not going anywhere. I'm actually doing a program called RSI, Rabbinical Seminary International. It's a distance-based program. It's not an online school, so this isn't like University of Phoenix for Jews. It's a distance learning program. It was founded by a Hasidic rabbi who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, who later in his life embraced progressive Judaism and believed that the Jewish community should start creating modern rabbis. So these are rabbis who fill a very social role, a community building, a chaplaincy type of role, as opposed to a role that has existed in the past, which has been something more geared towards teaching halacha and things like that. Now, that's not to say that that's not important, it's just that you need different kinds of leaders to do different kinds of jobs, and not everyone needs to be sitting at a desk, writing up responsa. So I figured that this was a good program for me because I didn't want to leave the South. My parents are both 71, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and punktorah is here in Atlanta, Georgia. Throughout the United States, throughout the world, but our headquarters are here. So I didn't want to have to leave the community here. I didn't want to have to leave my family. And I hope everyone understands that that's part of the reason why I decided not to go to school in some, big fancy place or whatever the case is. Now, just because I'm doing something that is distance learning based doesn't mean that it's like a cheating kind of thing, or like it doesn't count as much or anything like that. I'm going to do a video in the future about the history of smicha, which is ordination in the Jewish tradition, and that a lot of rabbis didn't have smicha. Having smicha doesn't mean what people think it means. And also a lot of questions that I have about how we in the Jewish community treat academics and academia, whether or not our values are in line with sort of the education bubble that's about to burst, or maybe is bursting right now, with many of my generation who are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt for educations that didn't help us out in life. So in any case, so this isn't a deal where, you pay $5 and you become a rabbi. It's a lot more complicated than that. I have a lot of books I have to read. I have to write a lot of papers. So it's just like going to college. Same idea. It's self-guided though. I'm somewhat autodidactic, so that works out really well for me. There are some things that I'm going to have some trouble with, and I'm going to have to seek additional help. Now, in addition to this program, this is a smicha program, so this is a program for ordination. But there are other programs I'm also going to be doing in conjunction with this. So I'm currently doing, and have been doing for the past few months, the Jew para-rabbinic program. One of our esteemed internet co-religionists, Rabbi Jonathan Ginsburg, who used to be the pulpit rabbi at Ezra Habanim, Niles Township Jewish congregation in Illinois, who he has like 2,000 videos. I mean, he's like, way bigger than me in terms of Jewish internet celebrity. He has a program that he administers. I'm working my way through that right now. So that's a program that I'm working on. In addition to that, I'm also seeking out chaplaincy work, or chaplaincy training. It's called CPE. So I am seeking that out right now. So anyway, I'm working on all of these different things in conjunction. I have to take classes in Hebrew language and a bunch of other things that I'm not very good at. So that's going to be happening as well. So you get to watch me go on that trip. A few other reasons why I decided not to go to school somewhere else. Now, technically, I could take punktorah and we could operate anywhere. It would take a little bit of work to sort of restructure things if I was to go to New York or LA or Chicago or Boston or any of these other places where physical rabbinical schools exist. But here's the problem. Now, I actually have a spreadsheet. This is how much work I put into this. I've been working on this for 2 years. I actually made a spreadsheet, and I broke down how much it was going to cost to go to each of these different schools and how much more it would cost punktorah. Now, why would it cost punktorah money if I went to school somewhere? Well, a couple of reasons. One, I have to make a living. I have to be able to live wherever I am, and I need to be able to have punktorah help with that, or I have to work another job on top of working for punktorah and going to school. So that's kind of the issue that it came to be. It was I would have to work part-time for punktorah, I'd have to get another part-time job, or actually no, I'd have to get another full-time job and go to school full-time. So it was impossible. There was no way I could work it out. A lot of schools said they would give me scholarships and different things like that, but even with scholarships, you then have the cost of living on top of that. So even if your schooling is free, you still got to eat and pay the rent, right? And the problem with that is LA, Chicago, New York, it costs 2 or 3 times as much to live in those places as it does in the dirty South. So I'm going to stay here. It's cheaper here. I can live cheaper here and operate punktorah cheaper here than I can anywhere else in America other than like, Dothan, Alabama or something like that. So, yeah. So that's why I'm staying here, and that's why I'm not going anywhere else. I don't want to do anything that makes it more difficult for the punktorah community to exist. I don't want to make our operation more expensive. I don't want to have to step away from any work that I'm doing here in order to go to school, because ultimately the reason I'm becoming a rabbi is for you. And maybe not you, the individual person who's watching the YouTube video. Maybe you're like, I don't know who this jerk is, punktorah, whatever. This just got tagged as, music or something. No, I'm going to rabbinical school so that I can help the punktorah community, so I can help out more at one shul, and so that I can be the kind of leader that I want to be for punktorah. It's all about you guys. It's not about me. I'm doing this for the betterment of all of us. So that's what it's all about. I have to say, it was a little heartbreaking when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to go to some big school somewhere. But then I realized that ultimately, if I was to go to one of those big schools, and especially if I was to go to a movemental school, I would become a product of that. And then in turn, the work that I did for punktorah would become a product of that. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with bigger movemental schools, but we're DIY, we're indie, we're the anarchists when everyone else is the establishment. We're Microsoft and Apple in the 70s. When everyone else is IBM, that kind of deal. That's who we are. So I want to stay in that place. I want us to grow, but I want us to grow smart, like Oregon. Now, what effect will this have on punktorah? Frankly, not a lot. So I'm going to be blogging on punktorah, talking about my experience of doing this rabbinical program. So you're going to get to join me, and I hope you will join me on this exciting adventure, because it really is. It's a cool adventure. You get to see all this interesting stuff that I've got going on and all the things I'm working on. I'm going to make a lot of videos about it. I'm going to blog a lot about it. So you're going to see a lot more content that way. Now, in terms of other things, obviously rabbinical school is going to take a good chunk of my time, especially because it's self-directed. I have the ability to finish quickly if I work really, really hard, which is another thing that I appreciated. There are other distance-based programs, but they're set very much on a time schedule, and I liked the idea of being able to do things on my own. So I am going to be working really hard on that, and that is going to take away time from the community. But here's some great things. I mean, we have Jeremiah Satterfield, who is absolutely kicking you-know-what over at Punktorah, doing Circle Pit the Bima, our weekly Dvar Torah. We've got Ketzira and we've got Rivka, who are just rock stars over at One Shul. We've got even more people who are going to be teaching classes and leading prayer services, so I'm very excited about that. I've been talking to Miriam, been talking to Rabbi Garner. Of course, Rabbi Samlin has been doing amazing stuff in his Talmud classes. So we've got lots of great leadership going on there. We need more leadership there. We need you to teach a class or to lead a prayer service, because that's an area where I'm going to need to step back a little bit, because it takes a lot of time for me to plan that kind of stuff. We're also going to need help with some business things. We need help with fundraising, grant writing, administrative type work, posting the articles to the websites, things like that. So if you know WordPress, hit me up, patrick@punktorah.org. We definitely could use some help there. I mean, I've got like 3 podcasts I need to put up, and I can't get them to connect to iTunes. It's not working. So little technical things like that, I could really use your help. Another big thing is we really need someone to run New Kosher, and I mean like run New Kosher, like update the site every week, update the Facebook, all of that stuff. So if you like Jewish food, if you like kosher cuisine, if you like cooking, if you're interested in kashrut and making these ancient laws more applicable to today, hit me up again, patrick@punktorah.org. I don't want to see New Kosher go away because we don't have time to update it and things like that. So we really need help with that. I was going to be blogging under the name The Tattooed Rabbi. I've decided not to do that because there's a book out apparently last October called The Tattooed Rabbi. I got an email about it from this guy who was like, "Hey, I heard you're going to rabbinical school. That's awesome. By the way, I wrote a book called Tattooed Rabbi." So I'm like, "Oh, oops, okay, sorry. Didn't mean to cut in on your turf there." So I got to come up with a new name for what I'm calling this. It can't just be, Patrick's, Smicha blog. That'd be kind of lame. So if you've got a cool name for the blog that's not terribly profane, let me know. Am I going to be raising money for my tuition? No, I am not. But if you want to help me out, if you want to help me with the issues that are going to happen as a result of me going to rabbinical school, volunteer. Seriously, volunteer. And give donations to Punktorah. Because what I have to do is I have to pound the pavement all the time to pay for stuff like the cost of streaming One Shul ad-free. It costs $100 a month to run One Shul. Every time we get a donation for $100, that's where it goes. We really need that help because I'm absolutely pounding the pavement all the time and writing grants and stuff like that, and it really helps to have that support. So please, $10 donation. If you donate $10 every month, that's $120. You paid for more than a month's worth of broadcasting at One Shul. Will I have a legit rabbi degree? That's another question I got asked. So smicha is what a rabbi degree is. I'm not going to have a degree from a higher educational institution like a master's in Hebrew letters or something like that, because I'm doing this old school, and old school isn't seminary. The thing about it is if you look at rabbinic programs that are run by schools, they're usually connected with some sort of degree program. This is more like how Christians ran their seminaries. I'm doing this a little bit more old school, so that's not involved. If that was involved, it would cost a lot of money, take a lot more time, and, like I said earlier, it'd just be unproductive. Let's see, someone said, you can't become a rabbi. You need to, fight the power. You need to resist going mainstream. Actually, I think that was Alan from Stereo Sinai who said that. But anyway, as to the whole selling out thing, I just want to make clear right now, I used to live in a Dodge conversion van, and I ate chicken out of a can. Once you have, slept in a public park overnight, there is no going back. I've already ruined my family's expectations for me. So just let's let that one go. Next question, am I scared? Yes, I'm terrified, in fact. And the reason why is that I've had a problem for a very long time with reading Hebrew. My eyes, like when I read Hebrew, like part of the Hebrew like flies off the page. I think that I just freak myself out too much, and I get this thing called convergence. And so I don't know what that's about, but I'm working on it. Okay, that's everything I can think of. If you have any other questions, comments, concerns, whatever the case is, you know how to email me right down here, patrick@punktorah.org. And before you ask, because people always email me and ask me, like, where do you film stuff? This is actually my parents' garage. So anyway, in case you were curious.